Disclaimer, everything I say here is entirely my opinion, so if you disagree, that's completely fine. Just be nice in the comments. Also, this video contains huge spoilers for the FNAF 2 movie. I recommend you go watch the movie yourself before watching this video. But if you've already seen the movie, or you just don't care about spoilers at all, then enjoy! Happy New Year, everybody! My name is Adel, and welcome to the Bootleg Show. It sure feels good to be making another scripted video again. It's been a while, hasn't it? Oh. A very long while, actually. So as of recording this, a few weeks ago, I made an unscripted quick review for FNAF Movie 2, and as you can see, it did horribly. Besides that, however, now that I've watched the movie twice in theaters and once in HD, I feel like it's finally time for me to make a full review of this movie to conclude my thoughts in a better structured way. Now, before I delve into this movie, I need to briefly talk about the first movie. I love the first movie. I still think it's a genuinely good film and is a love letter to FNAF fans. It had a good story, good characters, and the animatronics and set design were just phenomenal. However, it's still pretty flawed. The movie wasn't that scary, there were some parts in the story I didn't like, and overall, the movie just had really slow pacing. I still find it fun personally, but I do get why some people thought it was boring. Nonetheless, I still love that movie, and I was extremely excited for the sequel. It really looked a lot better than the first movie, and the people who worked on it kept on saying how it's bigger, bolder, scarier, and overall more engaging than the first movie. And honestly, they were kinda right. I love this movie so much. It's genuinely a big improvement on the first movie in a lot of ways. It's not perfect, obviously. There are still some issues I have with it, but man, I walked out of that theater so damn happy. This movie is a lot more chaotic and fun. It actually feels like a horror movie this time. The story, while flawed in some areas, is really well written. The animatronics and set design are somehow even more accurate to the games than the last movie. The character dynamic between Mike, Vanessa, and Abby is really entertaining, and the Easter eggs in this one are just diabolically insane. I haven't had this much fun in a movie theater in such a long time. Me and my friend were just gushing over the insane shit that happened in this movie. It was a very fun time. That was not a pun! But just because I and others loved it doesn't mean everyone did. Let's talk about the reception real quick, because the critics gave the first movie a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, which was already pretty damn low. You know what score they gave for FNAF 2? 16%. This is laughable. What the hell, man? These critics must have a hate boner for this franchise, because holy shit, dude. I don't even care how harsh these people are. I just find this absolutely hilarious. No wonder the director doesn't listen to these guys. Just look at these reviews. As for the general audience, they seem to enjoy it from what I've seen. But the fandom? Oh my god, the reception is quite literally split in half. Fans either love this movie a lot, or treat it like the spawn of Satan. We basically have another security breach situation, because the fandom has never been this divisive since that game released. It's so weird being in a fandom that's actively going at war with each other. It's embarrassing. The percentage of people who are just neutral about this movie are so minuscule, it's actually rare to find someone who just thinks the movie's flawed or mid. But you know what? I don't care that much. I enjoyed the movie, and that's all that matters to me. But why do I like it? Well, time to get into the review. So, bootlegs and gals, grab your Toy Freddy popcorn buckets, sit back, and relax as we dive into the second FNAF movie and break it down. But before that, please give this video a like and, you know, maybe subscribe and ring the bell of notifications, please. I'd appreciate the support. Okay, so before I get into the review, I think I should recap the events of the movie. If you don't want one, just skip to the next chapter, but if you need a refresher, then this is for you. The movie opens with Charlotte Emily's backstory and how she became the marionette, featuring William Afton in the yellow rabbit suit chasing after her, leading to her getting stabbed, as well as the original pizzeria getting shut down. Cut to 20 years in the future, and 1 to 2 years after the first movie, Mike and Abby's lives are finally starting to get better, while Vanessa is going through really bad nightmares about her dad every night. Mike and Vanessa go on a date, really cute scene by the way, and Vanessa seems fine at first, but you know, she isn't, and Mike tries to help her by letting her use her dreams to confront her fear the way he did. Skipping a few scenes, a group of paranormal investigators get invited to the original Freddy's Pizzeria by Michael. Not Mike. Michael. Scott Cawthon! Eventually, Lisa unintentionally shuts down the music box and the marionette wakes up and possesses her. Then Alex gets torn apart by Mangle, in the coolest and most gruesome kill in the movie by the way, and then Rob gets drowned by... What is going on in Scott Cawthon's head, man? Anyway, Vanessa tries to confront her father in her dream like Mike told her, and it's a genuinely tense scene, but out of nowhere we see... What the fuck?! Abby's fast talker starts talking and telling her to go to the OG pizzeria, so Abby goes there and meets Toy Chica.
Toy Chica is William Afton.
Abby then finishes her science project the next day, saying that Freddy and Chica helped her at their old house, and then Vanessa realizes what she means and informs Mike about this, but he doesn't listen to her for some reason. Okay, jackass. Vanessa even goes to the location herself and eventually gets kidnapped by possessed Lisa, who looks absolutely horrifying. She forces Vanessa to unlock the perimeter lock of the pizzeria, and then just like that, the animatronics are now free. And then Mike meets Henry, who explains a few things like the OG pizzeria and Charlotte being murdered by Afton. Mike finds out that Abby actually went to this pizzeria and that Vanessa was right all along, so he quickly goes over there and rescues Vanessa. Cut to Abby and Toy Chica at the science fair after Mr. Berg, her teacher, destroys Abby's project for literally no reason.
Such a dick, Mr. Berg.
Who said that?
Yeah, he gets his head crushed by Toy Chica. We're good.
God, Mr. Berg is lucky. I wish that were me.
The fuck is wrong with you? Vanessa and Mike head to the security office to track down the animatronics and rescue Abby. This causes a security breach, and the withered animatronics activate. Also, this scene felt weirdly cinematic with the music for some reason, but that's probably just me. We then get scenes of Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie invading random people's homes and nearly killing the parents. And then we get a scene where Mangle literally jumps on Vanessa's car and tries to kill her. What kind of movie is this? What? And then we get a scene that's basically a one-to-one recreation of FNAF 2's gameplay, where all the withered animatronics attack Mike, alongside... Galactus, you know what to do.
With pleasure.
I'm gonna kick you into the fucking Grand Canyon!
Mike does deactivate them in time, but then they notice that the marionette is heading to Mike's house. Toy Chica carries Abby to bed, but then the marionette literally pops out of her. Abby gets possessed by the marionette. She gives me nightmares. Holy shit, dude. She attacks Vanessa, but Mike arrives just in time to get Charlotte out of Abby. The trio get cornered by the toy animatronics, until...
Knock, knock. Hi, is this?
It turns out Michael Afton, yes, Michael Afton, has been working with Charlotte the entire time to try and kill people at Fast Fest to continue his father's legacy. Wow! He tries to convince Vanessa to join him, but she refuses. Then we get the most insane and nonsensical part of this entire movie. The FNAF 1 animatronics return and take the toys apart piece by piece while an orchestral theme of the main theme song plays. Foxy stomps on Toy Bonnie's face, Freddy gives Toy Freddy the Sentinel Prime treatment, Mangle gets pulled apart by Bonnie, and Toy Chica gets beheaded by Chica. This is just Avengers Endgame. Then Michael Afton runs away, and the classics start powering down, as the Golden Freddy Kid reappears and tells Abby that they're finally moving on. What? And so, Abby says goodbye, and they all get out of the house, but Mike leaves Vanessa behind due to her hiding all of this. Like Charlotte, the original pizzeria, her evil brother, and then Vanessa gets possessed by Charlotte, and the movie ends. Dude, cut to the mid-credit scene that finally shows a Springtrap in one of the coolest scenes in the movie and teases the potential FNAF 3. And that's it. That's the recap. Now, let's get into the actual review. So, the story. The one thing people don't really like about this movie. What is it like? Well, I think I should delve into the most important character in this whole movie, the marionette. Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. This is genuinely, hands down, the best and scariest version of the puppet in the entire franchise, in my opinion. This is the one version of her that actually feels threatening. Unlike Afton in the first movie, who, don't get me wrong, was great and threatening, but only appeared in the start and the end of the movie, the marionette is everywhere in this movie. She's basically a looming threat. We even get to see her backstory as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Charlotte trying to get revenge on parents is completely justified. Picture this. You're a kid that literally just saw another kid being kidnapped in front of you. You try to get help from the parents, but they're too ignorant and assholes, telling you to go away. So then, you go to save the kid yourself. And once you do, you get chased by a killer in a suit and then get stabbed in the back 3 times. Everyone watches you without helping, and not only that, but once you die, they blame you for a quote-unquote accident. Bro! Charlotte has every right to be mad. They covered up her death and left her to die. It's just saddening. She saved someone, but no one was there to lift her in their arms the way she did. She sacrificed herself for others, yet no one cared. It's just tragic. After that, she possesses the marionette, and 20 years later, she wakes up and is ready to get revenge on the people who hurt her. By the way, I just want to talk about how genuinely scary the marionette is in this movie. The way she slithers and floats around, and stuff like, you know, the whole possession thing, which probably makes the most terrifying parts of the film for me. It's just so unsettling and creepy. Like when Lisa's crawling on the ground, that stuff is just Exorcist material. Or when Abby laughs maniacally, it's just horrifying. Hell, Charlotte isn't just in the marionette or the possessed ones. She even controls the toy animatronics.
So sorry, bootleg, but I'm gonna have to take it from here.
Wait, what?
One interesting thing about the marionette is that she actually controls all of the toy animatronics this time. It's unclear if she does this in the games too, but in this movie, not only does she take control of them, but also talks from their perspective. Like with the scenes with Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie.
You left me to die. All of you did.
Thinks about herself. Parents are all the same, and I have to punish them for that.
It's nice to see these more serious versions of the characters, even if it's kind of funny that these parents have no idea what they're talking about.
Moody, get the fuck out of my house! Overall, I prefer the movie version of the puppet over the games. I like the game puppet, but honestly, I feel like she doesn't get much to do outside of FNAF 2 in the minigames. She feels kind of sidelined, and despite having a really creepy design, Game Puppet is this kind savior for the dead children, which I like, but I honestly prefer the movie version, making the marionette more actually threatening and scary. She's dangerous in this movie, and I absolutely love this new characterization. It may be different, but it's a very, very fresh take on the puppet as a whole, in my opinion. Okay, I think it's time for me to talk about the main trio, starting with Mike. For a few reasons, a lot of people do not like or outright hate Mike in this movie, and I don't get it, actually. Let's get into this. Mike in this movie is finally getting his life together. His financial status is a lot better, although the movie doesn't tell us his new job. He's in a much better mood, and he even goes on a date with Vanessa. I still ship it, bro. Mike is trying his best to move on from the events of the first movie. He tries telling Abby that he'll go fix the classic animatronics, even if he's just giving her false hope. He's just trying his best to fix everything. He's got this savior complexity where he tries to make things right, but even he screws up a lot. That's his whole character in this movie. Look, I'm not saying that Mike is a hero here, but unlike a lot of the fan base, I think Mike's actions are somewhat justified. So halfway through the movie, Vanessa tries to warn Mike about Abby going to the original pizzeria, and Mike doesn't listen to her, which in all honesty is the only wrong thing he did. That was just him being stupid, because when he tells Vanessa he's trying to quote-unquote fix her, I don't think he meant that. Why he said this is because of two things. One, his savior complexity, and two, because of his genuine concern for his friend. He's trying to help her, he just phrased it wrong. This is basically who Mike is in this movie. He's a complex character, a guy with good intentions, but makes a lot of mistakes. A guy who wants to help, but doesn't exactly know how to help and ends up hurting others along the way. When he leaves Vanessa in the end, sure, he's definitely in the wrong for leaving the woman who risked her life for him multiple times, but still, Vanessa hit so much shit. Like Charlotte, a second pizzeria, and an evil brother, all of which effectively put Abby in danger. So of course Mike wouldn't really trust Vanessa. He wants to protect Abby, she's literally all he has. So his decision was kinda valid. He did make the mistake of leaving her behind, don't get me wrong, but he did it for Abby's safety. That's just my opinion of Mike. I think he's a guy who has good intentions, but just makes mistakes. And I know the fandom hates him now, but I still like him. Now let's talk about Vanessa, because she's genuinely my favorite of the trio. Vanessa goes through some heavy shit in this movie. She's been having nightmares about her father every night, and unlike Mike, she's struggling to move on. Hell, in one scene, she literally gets hallucinations about her father in the yellow rabbit suit and almost shoots someone. She's being tortured, dude. Later on, she does what Mike told her and tries to confront her father in her dream to overcome this fear. She eventually does, but she still gets tossed around like a doll in this movie. She gets kidnapped by Charlotte, Mangle jumps on her car and almost kills her, she gets attacked by the Abbyonette, and then Mike leaves her, and then she gets possessed. She cannot catch a break at all. She's a very sympathetic character and I love her a lot. I've been rooting for her the most out of the trio, honestly. And I like how even in the opening, when Charlotte was going to save the kid, Vanessa genuinely cared about her and warned her not to go. Vanessa is easily my favorite human character here. I really hope she survives the whole possession thing in the next movie. Now let's talk about Abby, and she's basically about the same as she was in the first movie. In this one, she finally has friends in school, but she misses her friends, the FNAF 1 animatronics. Interestingly enough, she's into robotics now and attends a school science fair. Until Mr. Berg destroys her project. Yeah, what a dick. Abby doesn't really do that much in this movie compared to the other two, honestly, but there is one scene with her that I want to acknowledge, and that's in the end when the FNAF 1 animatronics power down, Abby looks at Chica and starts crying. But she eventually accepts that they're moving on. It's a pretty sweet scene, honestly. Overall, Abby is once again a good character, who's a bit dumb, but that's just cause she's a kid, so it's fine. I hope she stays safe, we need to protect her at all costs. Now, let's talk about one specific character, the most interesting as well as baffling character in this whole movie, Michael Afton. I'm gonna be honest, before the movie released, I hated the idea of this guy being Michael Afton of all people. I thought he was gonna be like the Wrecking Crew in the first movie. I thought he was gonna die in the first 30 minutes of the movie. Besides, the idea of Scott Cawthon putting two characters with the same name in his movie was just so mind-numbing to me. It felt very stupid. But now that the movie has been released, and now that I've seen Michael in this movie, not gonna lie, I love him. I love this dumbass so much. He's such a devious and goofy-ass character, and it's kind of funny how he tries to continue his father's legacy, but he probably doesn't even know why his father killed people in the first place. He acts all evil and shit, and then he runs away in the end. He's such a failure, and I love him for that. But even then, it's kind of sad how he seems visually upset when Vanessa rejects him. Him realizing that he'll have to kill his own sister. I'm genuinely excited to see what they'll do with him in the future. If he just gets a bit more fleshed out with more screen time, I think he'll be a great character. Also, his intro is the funniest jump scare I've ever seen in any horror movie ever. Now that we've covered the major characters, let's move on to the side characters I want to mention briefly. First up, Henry Emily. Henry in this movie feels a bit like a side character, honestly, but for the small screen time he has, I think he's a really cool and well-written character. But why is that? Well, I feel pretty stupid right now, so take it away, Dizzy.
Thank you, Bootleg. Anyways, in this scene where Mike goes to Henry's house, Henry mourns Charlotte, saying how he was so blinded by ambition and obsessed with his work. It cost him his pizzeria, his sanity, and his own daughter. I really like this. We never got to see Henry like this in games aside from FNAF 6. Henry Emily's really interesting so far.
Okay, Dizzy, I'm done being stupid. Thanks for taking over. I get why Henry doesn't have that much screen time, honestly, because they're definitely saving him for a major role in the next movie. I'm genuinely excited to see what's next. My only problem with Henry in this movie is how he's introduced off-screen. Yeah, Mike gives him a phone call and they tug there first before meeting each other. It would have hit a little harder if we saw Henry in the house first, but it's nothing too bad. Fuck, I can't breathe. I like Henry here, and I want to see more of him soon. As far as other side characters go, Lisa, Alex, and Rob are pretty cool, especially when Lisa gets possessed by Charlotte. She is so creepy. Also, Jeremiah is back and has more scenes now. In the first movie, he appears like once and never again, so I'm glad he's back. He kicked Michael Afton's ass.
Where you think you're going, jackass?
Also, oh my god, Doug, it's Doug! Doug is back, let's fucking go! Probably the most comically evil character in this entire movie is Mr. Berg. I have no idea why he's so damn mean to Abby. He just hates her for literally no reason, and I kept repeating the phrase asshole while I was in the cinema. This guy destroyed Abby's project all for a school title, bro. It is not that serious, Dennis Nedry. I'm glad he got his head crushed by Toy Chica. Like, yeah, goodbye, Al Toy Story. But there's one more character that I really want to talk about, and that is William Afton. In the opening scene, he wears the yellow rabbit suit, and oh my god, he is terrifying. The way he doesn't speak at all, he picks up the knife and chases Charlotte while making mechanical robot noises is just so horrifying. We should have gotten a scene like this in the first movie, because here, it's genuinely horrifying to see. I also really like how menacing he is in Vanessa's hallucination and dream. In a dream sequence, he's threatening Vanessa while trying to manipulate her into thinking he actually cares about her. But of course, he doesn't. It's a great scene. Until his goofy-ass shot, but whatever. Overall, the story is really solid. It's a lot more engaging and fun than the first movie, and despite some of its issues, I still find it pretty well written for the most part. The characters are more entertaining, and the dynamic between the main trio is pretty cool. It's a nice package. Well, I think that's enough for the characters. Time to get into the highlight of the film, the animatronics. So in the first movie, the animatronics were full-on suits and puppets rather than CGI, and were made by Jim Henson's Creature Shop, and they were fantastic. It's such a cool thing to see that Freddy and the gang are real. The FNAF 1 animatronics look great. On a technical standpoint, they're very impressive. However, they aren't exactly as one-to-one with the games as we used to think. They feel a lot more stylized, which is good, but I prefer how they looked in the concept art. And sometimes it looked pretty obvious in some scenes that there were just actors in suits rather than actual animatronics. Like, you could see the parts where the actors should be pretty clearly, and that probably has something to do with their proportions being really whack. But in FNAF 2, not only did the animatronics have better proportions, but they also look like they've been ripped straight out of Scott Cawthon's computer. Granted, there are still some small differences, like
how the marionette's eyes are drooping slightly to look like a tragedy mask.
Why'd you interrupt me?
Because I'm cool and the puppet is cool.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Very cool indeed.
Yeah. So, how did you get in here again?
Bye!
What? I need to lock my door. Yeah, they genuinely look extremely accurate to the games, and the performers did a great job. I need to know what kind of crack Jim Henson's Creature Shop is on, cause I want some! Mangle, the toys, the Wizards, the puppet, even Balloon Boy, they're all extremely accurate. One thing I will always appreciate about these movies, no matter how flawed they are, is their use of practical effects. These robots feel real on screen because, well, they are real. They're not just CGI or men in green suits, they're full-on animatronics. They quite literally brought these iconic characters to life, and it's just so cool to see. It reminds me of the animatronics they made for the Jurassic Park movies. The fact that the marionette is an actual puppet, or that the toys in the Wizards are actual animatronic suits, or that there is a real Mangle animatronic somewhere at Jim Henson's Creature Shop, that is just insane and I love it. Also, I really want to praise the set design for the pizzeria because it's so damn cool how they recreated the office one-to-one and even added the stupid light buttons, yet still made the location fresh and unique by adding stuff like the boat ride or the trap door on stage where the marionette rises from. I love this pizzeria so much. But now that we've discussed that, what do the animatronics do? Well, let's start with the toys. First up, Toy Freddy. I just want to say how much I like his voice. I think Kellen Goff did a pretty good job. He sounds a bit like Glamrock Freddy, yeah, but he's still pretty good. I like the scenes he's in, but I wish he actually killed someone. Felt like a bit of a missed opportunity, because sometimes he just stands around there and doesn't really do that much. But he's still pretty cool. Same with Toy Bonnie, honestly. Speaking of Toy Bonnie, MatPat did an incredible job at hiding his voice, because I genuinely could not tell that was him, even when I already knew who was voicing him. MatPat is goated. Oh yeah, and Toy Bonnie's pretty cool. I like this devious rabbit.
I'm Debbie. What's your name?
Don't you tell me how many calories I need, bitch!
Toy Chica. Toy Chica has the most screen time out of all of them. Wow. I think it's because she's voiced by Megan Fox, so they had to give her a bigger role, but damn, she gets a kill, a funny gag, and an entire science fair scene. You spoiled chicken. I can tell some fans are happy about it. Jokes aside, she's great in this movie, and Megan Fox did a surprisingly good job. Mangle is a fucking beast! I'm genuinely shocked at how well she's operated in this movie because she has the least amount of screen time yet steals the show every single time she's on screen. I swear, I love Mangle so much. This giant amalgamation of parts required 13 puppeteers just to work and it paid off. She is so cool. Anyway, I'm done gushing about Mangile. And I do get why she doesn't have that much screen time compared to the other toys because it would be really hard to shoot that many scenes with her, so I'm fine with it. I really like the scenes that she's in, and I also like her little animalistic noises. It's really cool. Time for the Wizards. The Withered animatronics aren't actually the same as the classics like in the games, but are just prototypes used for spare parts, which I'm honestly fine with. And the scene they're in is genuinely one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. I think all of them have their time to shine in this scene. Okay, not really, but they're just so cool and scary. I love their weird growling noises too. And despite not having that much screen time, I think they steal the show every time they're on screen. Not much to say other than I love them all, and I wish they got more screen time beyond these two scenes. Just ignore Withered Freddy's abysmal posture. Balloon Boy. Yeah, he doesn't really do much in this movie. I really wish he got a kill instead of these creatures. Also, his scene when he's in the water was so weird because, like, why was Vanessa so scared of him? What was this little shit gonna do? Probably electrocute Mike since his whole thing is stealing batteries. Then he just gets decapitated later on and... what the hell? Sure. He deserves it. Should have done more, though. And that is all the animatronics aside from the marionette and the classics who return to destroy the toys, and Springtrap, and... I'll get to you later. Overall, the animatronics are once again the highlight of the movie. To be fair, some get more screen time than others, which does piss me off a bit, but they all get their own moment to shine in some way. They actually feel like threats in this movie, something the first movie kinda struggled a little bit with in my opinion. Overall, these guys are awesome, and I love the fact that they're real. Jim Henson, you absolute legends. Same with the pizzeria. I love how accurate yet fresh and unique it is. Now, before I gush about this movie randomly, let's dive into the mid-credits scene, Easter eggs, and fan service. What's a FNAF movie without fan service? Just like the first movie, the Easter eggs and references are wild in this one. There are a lot of cool moments here, like
how Jacko Bonnie appeared and scared everyone. That was such a cool moment.
Dude, he's not even in this movie.
But he is in a movie!
Get out! There's lots of stuff, like how there are YouTuber cameos in the Fast Fest scene, or the Pop Goes and Candy and FNAF World arcade cabinets in the opening scene, or even Shadow Bonnie. Like, that one is a straight up blink it, you miss it secret. It is so cool. He only appears for like 2 frames in this one scene, and I'm pretty sure some people actually missed him on their first watch. Also, this one Easter egg is absolutely hilarious.
Ooh, what about this? Oh. Maybe not.
I genuinely laughed so much when it played. It's so hilarious how they included this. Fuck FNAF fans, bro. What do you mean this is jingling keys? You hate fun! Also, the scene after the toys get freed from the location, we see Corey X Kenshin again, and this time we see beakless Toy Chica, and she looks creepy. Granted, I do wish she appeared more in actual horror scenes rather than this simple gag, but I do love this scene a lot. And I like the recurring gag of Corey X Kenshin in a taxi. It's really funny.
I gotta get a new job.
There are a few more Easter eggs, but there is one specific Easter egg. One that genuinely made me confused and mind-blown for the rest of my experience. In Vanessa's dream sequence, Vanessa hides from Afton, but then out of absolutely nowhere, Circus Baby from sister location, just dead ass, appears on screen. What? This is genuinely so cool to me. The fact that Jim Henson built an entire Circus Baby animatronic for this 10-second scene is just beyond me. She's even weight and height accurate. Yes, apparently she's 7 feet tall and weighs 600 pounds. She couldn't even fit on an airplane, so they had to transport her by train. That is ridiculous. And unlike the other animatronics they've built, I literally cannot point out a single difference between this design and the game one. She is so accurate. Also, her inclusion here has some interesting lore implications, but we'll have to see what they'll do with Baby in the future.
Adil.
Yeah, oh god damn it! Why is everyone breaking into my house?
Bro, you forgot an Easter egg.
Which one?
Charlotte says this.
I don't hate you, but you need to stay out of my way.
That's a line from Ultimate Custom Night.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Yeah. So, are you having fun with Ultimate Custom Night?
No, I want to kill myself.
Also, I can't believe people aren't talking about this enough, but It's Been So Long by The Living Tombstone plays in the credits. I know we kind of expected this, but man, it's such a treat. I love the song, and hearing it play on the big screen is so cool and nostalgic. With Easter eggs aside, I can finally talk about the mid-credits scene. It starts with these 3 guys named Patrick, Robert, and Ethan going into the FNAF 1 pizzeria to retrieve artifacts for the haunted house. Yes, that haunted house. They find Springtrap and...
I think I found a real one.
Oh my god, he set the thing! They cover him up to take him outside. Then we get a very cool shot of Springtrap with his left eye glowing blue as the camera zooms in slowly and he begins to wake up. Welcome back, Sans Undertale.
Did someone say Undertale?
This is such a cool scene that sets up the next movie really well. This is easily one of the best moments in the film for me. It makes me extremely excited for the FNAF 3 movie. Just please change Springtrap's design. I know this isn't the final one, but please make him more game accurate. This guy looks kinda chopped. And finally, there is a post-credit scene. Kind of. We get a tape recording from Henry, who explains that he was William Afton's business partner, and warns Mike that the marionette is after him. This is such a cool reference to FNAF 6. He even says the same thing he says in a game.
Leaving dead space. 3, 2, 1.
It teases Henry's bigger role in the next movie, which I'm very fond of. Overall, the fan service in this movie is awesome. Sure, there are some things that I wish they added, like, where the hell is JJ? And Endo 2? Those would have been so cool to see. They made an entire Circus Baby animatronic, but not the literal Balloon Boy recolor? Also, I know that we saw Shadow Freddy in the first movie already, but it would have been cool to see his game-accurate design in this movie. Aside from that, the fan service makes me happy as a FNAF fan. It's really cool to just watch a movie where you can point at things and go, the thing I like! Enough of that though. For this next part of the video, I'm just gonna gush randomly about my favorite scenes and moments of the movie. There's quite a few, so sit tight. So, to begin the random gushing about this movie, here are my top 5 favorite scenes in the entire movie. First off, the opening scene is genuinely, without a shadow of a doubt, the best scene in the entire movie. This scene sets up the rest of the movie so well. We get to clearly see Charlotte's backstory, we get to see the Yellow Rabbit actually murder someone, we see the puppet for the first time rising from the trapdoor in the coolest shot in the entire movie. And not to mention, this scene is actually really scary. From the ambience and how the Yellow Rabbit moves and stomps after Charlotte as the tension builds up, it's such a terrifying and phenomenal scene that brilliantly kicks off the movie and tells us Charlotte's motivations in a very clear and cool way. Best part of the movie, hands down. Second, the paranormal investigation scene is definitely the most horror movie-like scene here, as weird as that sounds. It's creepy, it has 2 kills in a row, it's paced well, and possessed Lisa is, again, creepy as hell. Speaking of horror, I just feel like this movie in general is actually really scary this time. It's much better than the first movie in that department, and this time it feels like an actual horror movie in a lot of scenes. They definitely stepped up their game when it comes to the horror this time. It's great. Then we have the most intense scene in the entire movie for me, the Mangle car chase. This is such a scary and fun scene, and I still have no idea how Vanessa survived all of that. The way Mangle is on top of the car trying to break in it and almost catches Vanessa, and she barely escapes. It's a really cool scene, it's really underrated, and I absolutely love it. Also, Mangle being launched into Toy Freddy in the house was fucking hilarious. Then we get to the scene that absolutely could have been my favorite scene in the movie. The withered animatronics appear, and they accurately recreate FNAF 2's gameplay. It is such a cool scene. Funnily enough, when the first movie came out, a lot of people complained that Mike didn't check the cameras or close the door like actual FNAF gameplay, so I'm glad they acknowledged that here. Withered Freddy and Withered Chica scanning the mask and recreating their iconic poses, Withered Foxy not being fooled by the mask and running down the hall, Withered Bonnie coming out of the vent, Balloon Boy being a nuisance. I love the scene so much, and I just wish it was a bit longer. Okay, apologies if I sound weird for the next few parts of the video because I feel like I'm a bit sick right now, so sorry. And lastly, y'all are gonna hate me for this, but I loved the scene where the classics return and destroy the toys. Yes, I said it. Look, it's not particularly a good scene in general, but it's just so goofy and over the top, I just can't not enjoy it. It gives me such a dumb smile on my face every time I watch it. It's literally just like that one fan animation from nearly a decade ago. It's such a hilarious scene, and I find it incredibly dumb and fun, especially with that stupid-ass orchestral version of the main theme song and the dramatic zoom-ins. I just love this scene ironically. And that was my top 5 favorite scenes, and as for just the random things I like about the movie, here they are very briefly. I can't believe people aren't talking about the opening credits pixelated intro enough because it's genuinely beautiful. They brought back that amazing theme song from the first movie, and it somehow sounds even better, and the pixel art is really good too. I also like the newspapers that tell the aftermath of Charlotte's death. It's really cool. There are also a bunch of miscellaneous scenes that I enjoy a lot, like the Mike and Vanessa dating scene, or the dream sequence, or that one scene with the Abby and Annette, or the toys breaking into people's houses. You know, just miscellaneous scenes like that give me a smile. Also, just a side note, while this movie is pretty damn scary in my opinion, I find it to be really funny and comedic at times. This movie is just weird and campy, and I love it. And moments like Mangle literally being flung off the car will forever be funny to me, and the existence of the puppetlings is just hilarious. I love it when Scott Cawthon writes weird things that go unexplained for the love of the game. This movie kinda reminds me of the Chucky movies for some reason. I just love its mix of goofiness and actual horror. It's kind of a series standard at this point, actually. Also, I just want to briefly mention how good the cinematography is in this movie because, my god, this movie looks gorgeous. Much like the first movie, this movie's shot in really cool and creepy ways. I don't know how to explain it that much, but it looks really high quality for a movie with, what, $36 million worth of budget? It's just really cool looking. Also, the soundtrack is such a banger. I'm not gonna say anything, just go listen to it yourself now. I just want to mention how much better the acting is in this movie compared to the first movie. The acting was good in the first movie, but in this movie specifically, the actors just feel a lot more comfortable in their roles this time. They all did a great job here. I could go on and gush about this movie because there are so many things I like about it. However, this movie is far from perfect, which leads me into the next point of the video, my criticism and honest feedback. Okay, I'd like to mention first that I do love this movie a lot, and that is why I'm criticizing it. This movie has one problem, just one single problem that leads to a bunch of other ones, and that is the length of the movie. The first movie was an hour and 49 minutes. It was pretty slow, but it gave enough time for the story to end conclusively, and, you know, enough screen time for the animatronics. But this movie is 1 hour and 44 minutes. This time, the movie is way faster, has way more plot points, and has 10 new animatronics. I think this movie's length damages the pacing, the animatronics screen time balance, and the ending as a whole. Let's start with the pacing. Pacing seems to be a recurring issue when it comes to these movies. This time, the pacing is kind of a mess. I mean, the first half of the movie is pretty well paced and gives us a lot of cool moments while still giving us time to breathe between scenes. But then, in the second half, they had to cram every remaining plot point and scene from the movie in the last 52 minutes. This makes it so that every scene is constant action, which, don't get me wrong, I do love, but the movie flows from one scene to another very fast. The first movie was too slow, yes, but this movie, while I prefer the faster pacing, it's still not perfect. Every scene goes by very fast, especially the good ones like the office scene or the Fast Fest scene. If this movie was just longer, these scenes would last longer and be way better. Secondly, I know there are many animatronics now. There are 10 new ones compared to the first movie's 4 or even 5 if you count Golden Freddy because, well, he didn't do shit. But I think, again, if this movie was just longer, these robots would all get enough time to shine, because the screen time between them is not really well distributed. Now, excluding Toy Chica because she has the most screen time and has the most stuff to do, as well as the marionette because while I do wish the actual marionette appeared more, I do still really love Charlotte's character, so I don't know, I just kind of pass it off, and the possession thing is really cool. And I accept the fact that Mangle doesn't have them screen time because it would be really difficult for them to, like, operate that many scenes with Mangle, and she already has one of the best moments in the entire movie and the best kill, so I'm passing it off, it's fine. But the same does not apply to the others. Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie walk around for a bit and don't even get actual kills, Balloon Boy does nothing, and the Wizards only appear for one scene and never came back. Especially Withered Bonnie, who got less than 30 seconds on screen. This is unacceptable, alright? This pisses me off. I can see why some fans would be disappointed, dude. Some fans of specific characters get to watch them do cool things, while other fans get to see them get a vent slapped in their face. Like, the toy animatronics at least last until the end, but the Wizards get shut down very quickly, and Balloon Boy just gets straight up decapitated? Sure, I said earlier that they all had at least one moment to shine, but that's it, and it's disappointing. It's like all the millions of dollars spent on making these one-to-one recreations of these iconic characters just went to waste. Even when that's not really the case, but it may feel like that to some people. And finally, the one part of this movie that almost everyone dislikes. The ending. Look, I know I said earlier that I consider the ending to be one of my favorite scenes in the movie, but that does not mean it's a good ending. In fact, I genuinely think the ending is the weakest part of the entire movie. The build-up to this point was solid, but then they just end it like that? Let me explain. Michael Afton, while I praised him earlier, hasn't done anything until now. He just shows up at the end and talks about his plan to kill all the people at Fast Fest. Speaking of Fast Fest, the movie was building up Fast Fest as his grand climax, this huge massacre that our heroes will have to stop somehow. The movie constantly mentions Fast Fest until this point. Even at the very beginning of the movie, we get hits towards it. In fact, I think Fast Fest was kind of all over the marketing from what I can recall. It was really heavily hyped up. What do we get? One scene. One goofy scene and some YouTuber cameos. That's it. That's Fast Fest. It is such a missed opportunity to have more creative kills and a cooler ending, because this movie already has less kills than the first movie. Fast Fest just got dropped and thrown out the window at the end. And of course, I gotta talk about the part where the classics come back and easily take care of the toys. Look, I already said I love this scene, but like, really? This would have been the perfect time to bring back the Withered somehow. Like, surely Scott Cawthon could have found a way to make that work. It would have given those fan-favorite characters another chance instead of being shafted. But no! Instead, they decide to bring back the first movie's animatronics, and then give them a scene where they show up out of nowhere and destroy the main threat with ease? What? You had the chance to give more screen time to the Withers! Why would you bring back the classics? Also, this scene genuinely would have been so much more serious if the music wasn't all orchestral and epic, and with all the dramatic zoom-ins. Bro, this shit is not Avengers Endgame. It just makes the whole scene a lot more goofy than serious, and hell, this isn't even a fight scene, it's just the toys being one-shotted. In this movie, the toys have been shown to be strong and menacing, and hell, invincible even. But then they just die, they just get demolished easily. Like, it's stupid, it's so stupid, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong though, I still love this scene due to how goofy and fun it is, but man, it just pisses me off in a lot of aspects. Oh yeah, and Michael Afton just runs away like a pussy, sure. Also, this might just be the strangest depiction of the kids moving on in any FNAF media I've ever seen. The Golden Freddy kid just shows up out of nowhere and tells Abby that they're moving on, as Abby says goodbye to her friends. This should be a great scene, and it's already kind of wholesome, but then it's immediately followed by the Golden Freddy kid telling Mike that Afton is coming back and that they won't be there to hold him captive. What? They're just gonna leave him like that? They just moved on way too soon. At least save it for the third movie to make it a more impactful finale. Also, where the flying fuck is Golden Freddy? Now, Withered Golden Freddy isn't here either, but that makes a bit more sense. But the Golden Freddy kid and the classics are here. Why isn't the normal Golden Freddy here then? He barely had enough screen time in the first movie. Why not bring him back when the classics are back? I can't breathe! Again, they made a circus baby animatronic for a 10-second scene, but didn't bring back the Golden Freddy robot they already had. And then this movie ends by Mike leaving Vanessa behind, and then she gets possessed by Charlotte, and it ends on a cliffhanger. This movie does the exact same thing that Across the Spider-Verse did by setting up the next sequel in the ending. Not gonna lie, I don't like this, I'm sorry. This movie just ends too abruptly. There's a lot of unresolved stuff like where Mike and Abby and Jeremiah are going, or whatever happened to Michael Afton. Fast Fest gets thrown out the window, and the MCI kids just move on way too early. While I do think this is a decent setup for the next movie, I don't think this movie can really stand on its own. The first movie's ending, in my opinion, was a lot better because at least that one felt conclusive. This one just has way too many loose ends for my liking. The ending might genuinely be the biggest reason to why people hate this movie. It probably soured the entire experience for a lot of FNAF fans. And while I do think judging an entire movie's quality based off the last 10 minutes is pretty unfair, I do still get why. I think all three of these issues could have been fixed if the movie was at least 10 to 15 minutes longer. That way, the ending wouldn't be so abrupt, the pacing would be balanced, and the screen time of the animatronics would be distributed equally. I hope Scott and Emma Tammy and Blumhouse pay attention to these criticisms so that FNAF 3 can be good. However, I do also have some miscellaneous issues. I think the main thing FNAF fans complain about in this movie is the writing. The first movie was written by Scott and other co-writers from what I remember, and that first movie actually had really good writing. But in this movie, Scott Cawthon is the only writer in this movie. But unlike a lot of people though, I think the writing of the second movie is pretty damn solid. I like how the characters are written, I like stuff like the connection between Charlotte and Vanessa, or the bond between Mike and Abby. I already mentioned this prior in my story and characters section, but I do still have complaints. Scott Cawthon has a habit of introducing something that doesn't make sense and goes unexplained. The puppetlings. These guys are funny. I like them, but why are they here? And why did they get a kill instead of the other main animatronics? I want to throw them into the Bermuda Triangle! Also, while the dialogue is solid for the most part, there are definitely some pretty corny lines here and there. I think some of the lines should have had another take. And also, due to the pacing being so fast, I feel like the dialogue doesn't really flow that well. Also, Mike not listening to Vanessa about Abby going to the FNAF 2 pizzeria is just way too stupid, I'm sorry. This is the one moment where I genuinely can't defend him. He should have just given her a chance to talk, because it actually ended up, like, you know, putting Abby in danger. Huh? Mike, you stupid bitch. Aside from that and a few other minor nitpicks that I don't need to mention, those are pretty much all my complaints and issues with the movie. I think in order to improve the next movie, Scott, Emma, Tammy, and Blumhouse, whatever, they need to listen to the feedback and hire a co-writer for Scott Cawthon. To Emma, Tammy, please just stop pushing this for the fans thing. While I'm so honored to watch a movie made for me and other FNAF fans, this whole excuse is just genuinely hurting these movies' reputation. If you think the fanbase is over the moon about this movie and that everyone loved it, that's just delusion. I think they should just let go of this whole campaign and listen to the honest criticism for the movie. I genuinely think they can make an amazing FNAF 3 movie if they just listen to this criticism. Because if there's one thing that Scott Cawthon is good at, it is acknowledging criticism. You could say he listened too much to the first movie's criticism, so it kind of messed up here, but it's fine. At least he does listen to it. There's a fine line between fan service and a generally good movie. But honestly, that's all I can say about this movie's flaws now, because I still love it. So, in conclusion, FNAF 2 is a flawed, but genuinely great movie that improves on the original in many ways. It does have issues when it comes to pacing and writing, but at the same time, it's scary, it's fun to watch, the characters and animatronics are entertaining, and there are still a bunch of fan service to make me, as a fan, happy. I know I criticized this movie earlier, but I can never be too harsh on this movie because there is genuinely so much talent and passion and effort behind this movie. From the people who brought the pizzeria and its iconic robots to life, to the actors, and just the whole crew is just so talented and full of passion, and they did such a good job here. Now, my score has lowered a bit since my last review, but I think this movie's a solid 8 out of 10, honestly. I still love this movie a lot, and I will always have fun rewatching it. I prefer this movie a lot more than the first, personally. I know I've already said this before, but FNAF 2 was the first FNAF game I've ever played, so seeing a pretty faithful adaptation of it on the big screen is just such an honor to me as a FNAF fan. FNAF 2 means a lot to me, and so this movie reminds me of my love for the series and all its content, characters, and media. I know this sounds a bit corny, but this movie means a lot to me because of that. Now, I could talk about the fans' reception, I could talk about the critics' reception, I could talk about how basically mixed bag, middle of the road the reception is, whatever, but at the end of the day, I don't necessarily care or need to talk about that, because, you know, my own opinion matters to me the most, and as long as I enjoyed the movie, I don't really care about anyone else, honestly. Like, sure, I'm tired of the constant negativity surrounding this movie, especially on Twitter, dude. I need to get my ass out of there. However, I do have some messages to the FNAF community. For the people who don't like the movie at all, I think it's important to criticize it fairly and be honest and actually, you know, say the reason why you dislike a certain point in the movie or just the movie in general, because it's been proven time and time again in this franchise that with proper criticism, things can be way, way better and we could get so much cool stuff. And to the people who love the movie, much like me, I think it's okay for you to criticize it because, like it or not, sometimes media you love, you have to criticize it in order to get something even better. So it's okay to give feedback to your favorite media. I hope everyone understands my message, and I hope that we stop fighting over whether this movie is good or bad. Honestly, I have lots of hope for the next FNAF movie. I think if Scott, Emma, Tammy, and Blumhouse listen to all the feedback, we could get something amazing. All we have to do now is wait. I think it's safe to say that FNAF had an awesome year in 2025. We got a new well-received game, a successful Dead by Daylight collab, a haunted house, and even more alongside this movie. And now that the movie's doing really well in the box office, I think FNAF is more successful than ever. But as a longtime FNAF fan, I am so proud. Finally, my last thing to say, I love this movie, and while it's flawed in a few areas, I will always enjoy it for what it is. And that's it! That's my full hour-long review of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Thank you all so much for watching this video, genuinely. I'm sorry this took really long to make because I have a really busy schedule, but I had a lot of fun making this one. It's nice to make a full video expressing my thoughts again. Except editing this video is a pain in the ass because CapCut is a laggy son of a bitch. Oh, and by the way, shout out to all my amazing friends who cameoed in this video. They're all very talented and cool people, so I really recommend you subscribe to them and support them. I'll leave all their names and credits in the description. So, let me know down below if you want more content like this. Just make sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts, and support this video while you can. My name is Adel, and I'll see you next time on The Bootleg Show.